I'm lucky enough to be here with the legendary Annabel Karmel. She has written the only cookbook that I've ever read. You're an expert in baby weaning, Annabel, so I thought it would be really good if you could give us your sort of tips. When do you start weaning? All of that.
When do you start weaning? Well, it is confusing because you see all these pouches and jars that say from 4 months, and yet your health visitor will say, no, you can't start until 6 months. So what is the truth? Well, physiologically, babies can have solid food from 17 weeks. I like to start introducing fruit and vegetables around 5 months and then move on to proteins at 6 months.
So sort of fish, meat,
fish, chicken and meat.
Okay.
Now, if there's a history of allergy or if your child has any allergic problems, then I would definitely try and exclusively breastfeed for the whole of the first 6 months.
But there's an interesting school of thought that actually exposing your child to things makes them less likely to develop allergies. Could you talk me through that? Because I think that's fascinating.
Well, people used to think that if you introduced foods before 6 months, that children or babies may be more likely to have an allergic reaction. But that is not true, provided you wait until after 4 months. So it won't make any difference. And from 6 months, I would say do introduce like the whole egg, as long as it's well cooked, and fish and all these foods, because it's almost like you're desensitizing your child to that food. Obviously, if there's a history of allergy, then it's a whole different matter. You should only do it under medical supervision. But if your child is going to be allergic to eggs, you will find out because the child will have a reaction after eating eggs, and there is no point avoiding eggs beyond 6 months.
I've heard that you have to, your child learns their eating habits in the first year. Is that true?
I think they kind of decide what they like and what they don't like very early on. Maybe not the first year, but in the first couple of years. And it's very important because babies and toddlers tend to eat quite well from 6 months to 1 year, and then the fussiness kind of comes into it. So you want to try and introduce as many flavors as you can, and they're quite open to flavors. And what's interesting is when I first started to write my book, everyone said babies only like bland food. So I thought I would do these testings around my table, and I made really bland food, and I made food that was tasty, and I put herbs and garlic. Obviously you can't use salt. And guess which ones they liked? The really tasty food.
Yeah.
So that was just a misconception. There are so many myths about feeding babies. So for example, fruit and vegetables are all well and good, but babies grow more rapidly in their first year than any other time in their entire life. So fruit and vegetables are low calorie. So once your baby gets to around 6 months, it is important to introduce cheese, eggs, avocado. These are nutrient-dense foods that your baby really needs. And babies need proportionally more fat in their diet than adults do. So a lot of people don't realise that. I'm Annabel Karmel. I am the UK's expert on feeding babies and children. Do subscribe to One Fat Mother or One Voluptuous Mother, as in Bryony's case. It's a fantastic site.